My aunt once said that mirrors were doors. Not to other places, but to other versions of you, the ones that were never meant to come through. After her mother's funeral, Lena Carter returned to the house on Briar Lane, a place she hadn't stepped foot in since she was 17. The house had belonged to Aunt Evelyn, her mother's estranged sister, who now lived in a retirement home and hadn't spoken a word since a breakdown 2 years earlier. The house sat crookedly at the edge of a wooded street, boxed in by leafless oaks and a crumbling white picket fence. It wasn't quite haunted looking, just forgotten. The air inside was heavy with dust and time, the kind that settles deep in wood and bones. Lena didn't come to sell it. She came to find answers. Evelyn had sent her a key with a note months before her breakdown. The note read, "Don't look in the glass after dark. And whatever you do, don't go into the mirror room." Lena hadn't understood it, but she kept the key. The mirror room was exactly what it sounded like. A small bedroom upstairs, entirely filled with mirrors. Standing mirrors, wall mirrors, antique vanity sets. Every surface reflected 1,000 versions of Lena. Some of them didn't quite move right. Her mother once said Evelyn had become obsessed after their father died. She'd believed mirrors held echoes of the dead. That if you watched long enough, you'd see them looking back. Lena assumed it was grief. Maybe even schizophrenia. But standing in that room now, she felt something wrong. It wasn't just the feeling of being watched. It was the feeling of being duplicated. And one of the copies was out of sync. She spent her first night in the house curled on the living room couch, wrapped in the quilt her mother had made. Rain tapped the windows. Pipes moaned in the walls. At 3:17 a.m., Lena woke up without knowing why. The living room mirror, the one above the fireplace, was fogged. As if someone had breathed on it. And in the center, a handprint. She slowly stood, staring. Her own hands were still under the blanket. When she touched the glass, it was ice cold. In the morning, Lena searched Evelyn's old desk and found a leather-bound journal, pages full of frantic writing. She doesn't blink anymore. She stands there smiling like she's waiting for me to look away. I broke the hallway mirror. It didn't help. She just moved to the next one. Lena must never come here. She won't understand. She'll open the door. Lena felt her stomach tighten. This wasn't eccentric grief. This was terror. In the back of the journal, a name was scribbled over and over again, Motherglass. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She sat on the stairs with a flashlight, watching the hallway. At 2:43 a.m., she heard it. A low tap. Tap, tap from upstairs. Like fingers drumming on glass. She climbed slowly, each step creaking. As she neared the mirror room, she noticed something off. The door was open. She had locked it. Inside, the mirrors were dark. No reflections. Just black surfaces like open eyes. And in the center of the main wall mirror, her face, smiling. But she wasn't smiling. The reflection tilted its head, smiled wider, and blinked after she did. Lena screamed, slamming the door shut. On the third night, she tried to cover the mirrors. Blankets, towels, newspaper, anything to keep the reflections out. But by morning, the covers were gone, folded neatly on the floor. That night, she called her aunt's care home. Evelyn Carter doesn't speak, the nurse said. But she draws. They emailed a photo of her latest drawing. It was a rough sketch. A woman standing in a room of mirrors, surrounded by versions of herself. One of the copies was taller, featureless, and entirely black. The caption underneath, in Evelyn's own handwriting, read, "He's on the wrong side now." Lena decided to destroy the mirrors. She started with the smallest one, an oval hand mirror on the vanity. She wrapped it in a towel and smashed it against the hardwood floor. It shattered with a scream. Not from her, from the mirror. Her ears rang. Blood dripped from her nose. Every other mirror in the house flickered, just for a moment, as if something had blinked. That night, the power went out. She wandered the dark halls with a flashlight. Every mirror she passed showed her not as she was, but as something else. Hair stringier, skin bruised, eyes black, and in every reflection, that same smile. She locked herself in the attic, the only room without mirrors. But at 3 a.m., she heard breathing. Slow, deep, raspy, not hers. She turned slowly toward the far wall. A mirror had been propped up. She hadn't put it there. Her reflection stood still, but the background was wrong. Different wallpaper. The attic as it looked 30 years ago. Behind her reflection stood a woman. No eyes, no mouth, just a hollow face, like a smoothed-over doll. The reflection turned to face her, and the woman inside the mirror moved forward. Lena dropped the flashlight. When it clattered, the mirror cracked, and the attic was empty again. The next morning, Lena went to visit Evelyn at the care home. When she entered the room, Evelyn looked up for the first time in 2 years. She whispered one word, closed. Lena shook her head. Evelyn began to sob. Motherglass, she said, voice trembling. She watches through grief. When we mourn, the mirror's open. You let her in. Lena leaned in. How do I stop it? But Evelyn only said, don't break the last one, or she won't need the glass anymore. Back in the house, Lena packed her things. She planned to leave that night. But when she passed the hallway mirror, she stopped. Her reflection was smiling again. This time, it raised its hand and waved. Not goodbye. It was beckoning. From behind her, in the real room, something moved. The mirror shattered. Darkness poured out like ink. And Lena was gone. When police entered the house days later, they found no sign of Lena Carter. The only strange thing, every mirror was broken, except one. In the reflection, a woman stood smiling. She wasn't Lena, but she wore her face.